Alright guys, so quite a few years ago I bought just for fun, a pinhole lens. It was Sony A mount. It's made by Holga. They're plastic, highly cheap. And I've just seen Dave McKeegan's newest video about the 10mm fixed aperture, basically lens cap lens. And I've just suddenly thought, now I've still got this old pinhole lens here. So I thought, okay, I could modify this to fit an E-mount, because I don't really want to buy an E-mount adapter just to put this on, just to use it every now and again. I thought, well, I've got some old crappy adapters here, E-mount adapters to MD mounts and screw-on lenses. That's the Makey extension tube, so obviously won't use those. But I've got a couple of old ones here. I've already taken the screws out of this one, and the threaded, because obviously you could buy different threads, I suppose. It actually fits in, but there's a bit of movement there, so I've somehow got to work out how to get it central to make it work properly. Other than that, it could be quite useful. So yeah, it's just a case of messing around now and see how and what I can do. If not, I mean, I'm going to take the head off this one in a sec, take the mount off this one and see if that will do anything as well. Have a quick look. So we shall have a little mess around and see what's what, and I'll come back to you. But that looks the best way. Just got to get it central. I might be able to screw into the actual body of this, and then it'll give me some adjustment depending on how much you wind it in and out, so I can actually line it up properly. That's an option, but we shall see. It may fit in here perfectly, you never know. I'm going to carry on playing around and I'll be back. So this one, I've taken the mount off, and inside you've got a few bits in here. This actually lines up this will actually line up inside there if I file off or cut off the flanges for the mount. I think it's going to sit in there perfectly. That way I don't have to try and line it up. Just going to remove the screws here to get rid of that, and then I'll probably leave that on there, see, because that might give it a bit of bracing. But I'm just going to remove these and then see where it goes. So just had a quick measure, guys. It's between 46 and 47mm, the diameter of that hole there. And this, being plastic, I can actually file this down or sand it down slightly after I cut the flange bits off, is roughly the same, about 0.5mm difference, I reckon. So I reckon this is going to go straight in, boom, and then I can glue it in there or whatever, and hopefully we have something that's quite usable. Be interesting to see. So, bit of a Dremel tool, got the old, I'm literally just going to just rub them off, basically. It's soft plastic anyway. There we go, that's that one done. So that's what I'm doing. So I've done that, and now I'm just literally going to run a bit of sandpaper around just to clean it up. Now, just get rid of any soft edges. That is completely free now. It's still a tight fit, but I think, oh, it's in. It goes in, guys. I've actually left the pin thing in there at the minute, so I think that's just what's holding it back. But there you go. I mean, that's basically what it's going to look like when it's actually in fully. Unfortunately, there's a bit of light coming through at the minute, so that's what I've got to deal with. It's got to go right in. It's got to be sealed properly, so there's no light leakage. But that's what it's going to be like. So I'm going to remove this metal bit here, because that's one thing that's restricting it. And then we can get it together, hopefully. Right guys, it's in. I just used a bit of sandpaper just to go around the edges again, and now it's in there. It's properly in there, and it's gone in nice and square, which is good. Doesn't seem to be any light leakage at all coming through anywhere, which is good. You can see the pinhole there as well. I can see the light coming through. In fact, if I do that, you should be able to see it. There you go, guys. That's the pinhole. There you go. Yeah, it's just a bit of fun. Well, I've got quite a few of these laying around. Old lenses where I've had old style MD lenses or whatever that I've either been given or whatever, and I've had to buy a couple of adapters to make things fit. So this is obviously, I can just put that back together. But this could be a bit of fun. So I'm going to try it out and see what's what. It's possibly going to be crap, but I mean, it's going to give me an very old school look to images that, you know, a pinhole camera does. It's very long exposures. Obviously you can cheat a little bit by increasing your ISO, because obviously in the old days it was a very, very different way of photography back then, but there's no optics, no nothing. It's just literally a pinhole. So we can get that on the camera. We can have a little mess around and see what we get. I'm not expecting high detail or anything like that. It's, you know, so what's this actually work out to? So 0.25mm is the pinhole. So 1/4 of a millimeter, a pinhole. So anyway, guys, that was it. It was just literally a quick. It's not coming out. It's well in there. Yeah, so pretty pleased actually. I'm glad that kind of a little bit of an engineering project as such. That's nothing. Don't need that now. This is obviously originally on there. That's an E mount. That is that's a. I think that's an MD mount, an Ultra mount. That's what it goes from. Because I have another one here. Yeah, MD to NEX, so MD to E mount basically. So here's another one. So yeah, I've got a few of those. But I just thought a little bit of fun, and cost me nothing. Had this for probably 5 or 6 years. This little, maybe no more than that, probably maybe 10 years, or pushing that way anyway. On the A mount system, and obviously just an old adapter. So let's see what it does. I'm wondering if this is going to be too close to the sensor, but we'll see what it does. It may end up as a APS-C kind of shot, because one thing I did notice was this adapter is much longer, that one there. So anyway, it's worth a go anyway, bit of fun, and I'll show you the pictures shortly. Oh, hi guys, so look at the ducks. We are down today at Bodiam Castle, the well-known place that I shoot quite a bit at, and I've got a pinhole lens on here which I've adapted, which you would have seen in the video earlier on, modifying it to fit. So this is an old A mount fitment, and onto an old Minolta MD mount to NEX mount, which is obviously E mount, with a 10mm extension tube on it to bring it away from the sensor to give me a full frame image. And it's basically old school photography. So just going to be out way snapping away and seeing what we can get really. So the sun had only just come up, so we had a limited amount of light, which is actually my benefit. So up to 30-second exposure with ISO 50 or to 100, giving these shots quite a nice soft feeling. Obviously they're not particularly sharp anyway, but you could see the water had plenty of movement in it because it was quite windy. And really pleased actually. I mean, yeah, they don't look anything like what we're used to seeing today, but I think they've got a real nice charm to them that's just very different. Right guys, I've actually got Nick here, who's one of my YouTube followers and Facebook followers, and I'm out with the pinhole lens. We're down to pet level at the minute. We've got some interesting groins and stuff here. So what I thought I would do, see a few more pinhole shots. And where earlier I was at Bodiam Castle, we were shooting sort of ISO 100 or even ISO 50. We were sort of doing up to 30-second exposures. But now I'm shooting at ISO 4000 and getting 1/25 of a second, so I could crank the ISO up a bit more. But I'm still able to do handheld shots now, or even video like I'm doing below. So Nick's snapping away some pictures. He's brought his 200 to 600 with him, so that's going to be on the next video. So we're doing 2 videos today. But I love it down here. It's such a interesting spot. So for landscape shots like now, looking straight through there, just looks interesting. Clouds and everything. Just the landscape just is awesome. This, we think, possibly, even though it's like groins, it's almost like it was the first sort of sea defence, unlike it is now where it's all just built up stones and then a concrete wall. It's a possibility that this might have been something like that. We're not sure. I've never seen groins go along a beach rather than obviously separating the levels up before. So anyway, I'm going to snap away some shots here. So it's actually sunny enough, the sun's come out, so I can actually get 1/60th of a second at ISO 4000. I'm actually going to take some shots in a second and see how they turn out. Obviously the quality is atrocious compared to modern optics, but it's literally a pinhole. So a little bit of fun, a little bit of experimentation, and just a different look really. As you can see here, it's got a real grainy, sort of almost silhouette-y kind of look to this shot. Really like it though. I don't know, it's bizarre. And even here, you haven't got much detail, but you can kind of see what it is. You can see there's cliffs in the distance, you can see the sea, you can see the rocks. And the same as this had a bit of weird light flaring down just on the main rock here, on the lower section. Like almost a bit of sunburst from a bit of sun coming through the clouds. Right guys, so I've actually got the pinhole lens back on to do some shots of the old boats down at Dungeness. What have you got? I know he's got the 100 to 400 Sigma. So Nick actually bought my 100 to 400 Sigma off me when I managed to get a silly price on the 100 to 400 G Master. So he quite likes using it. I think it's great because it's such a lightweight lens that fits in the bag easily. It's sharp. So this place here, Dungeness, is literally got a nuclear power station over there in the distance. Zoom in, there we go. We've got 2 lighthouses, the old one and the modern one. Old one to the right, modern one to the left. And then, basically, old fishing huts and boats and just waste everywhere that's just been left, really. Even the old sort of railway line for the carts, that when they bring the fish up, they bring the boat up over there rather, and they basically wheel the fish along up to the road there, and off it went to market, I suppose. But you've got old boats like this. Nick was just saying, how long has it been here? And I said, well, it's been here more than 20 years because I've photographed it that long. But they had the cabin still up on the top. I have to dig the old pictures out because they're definitely there somewhere. You've got these old, like I say, the old huts here and there. And there's a few other bits and pieces as well. A few other boats that have seen worse days. I can't believe it's snowing. The sun's out, it's snowing, it's windy. Weird. English weather. So anyway, I've got the pinhole lens back on, so I'm going to snap some shots. The old pinhole lens. So as you can see here, detail and everything is obviously what it is, but I don't know, it just really adds an old feel, especially the old stuff like the old boats, the old machinery, things like that. Really adds, just that, classic, really early photography kind of look to it, and I just think it's really great. It's just a bit of fun. Even this, dog walkers, you can see what they are, but it's very, very basic. The detail is very limited, but it's there, it's just a real nice, I think it's a canvas or something, it might be quite cool. Boat there, the sea quite crashy and big waves and a bit of white water today. So yeah, just a bit of great fun, and it's just different. You haven't got to worry about focusing, you've just got to worry about your shutter speed and your ISO, just to make sure you can either hand hold it or stick it on a tripod. Other than that, and then stick it through Photoshop, a little bit of black and white conversion, and leave it as was. So yeah. Right guys, we're at the Pilot Inn, not that you can see a sign anywhere, but basically we're going to get some food. They do fantastic fish and chips, and there's a bit of a B-17 flying fortress that a fisherman, I presume, pulled up at some point from the war. But yeah, it's snowing again, as it does on April. So here's a couple of shots. One couple of shots of Nick actually snapping away, but these are shot with the Samyang 14mm wide angle lens, and I love this lens. It's absolutely brilliant. Shooting f2.8 is a little bit soft, but I just thought I'd show you, back to modern technology, modern optics, how different it really looks. You know, it's just an interesting difference in view and just detail, if anything. You know, we're so lucky today. You know, autofocus straight through there to Nick, who's actually shooting just one shot there, shot f11. Him taking a picture of something, and me shooting through the hole there. So you know the difference is in straight into black and white. It looks really quite cool. It's, you know, the details there though, you know, compared to the Pinhole. But I've got a bit of fun. I'm actually going to use it a bit more. You know, it's just going to live in my bag now, and if I fancy a little bit of a change, you know, something a little bit less clinical as such as we are today. You know, everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be super sharp all the time, and I don't think it needs to be. You know, yeah, I know. You know, I've got the obviously 135G Master, which is probably one of the sharpest lenses ever made, and I love it. But in some respects, it's quite nice and enjoyable just to go out and experiment, have a bit of fun, and not worry about the quality too much. So, anyway, guys, just some thoughts, just a bit of a play and experimentation. See what you think. Comment below. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and a little notification bell, and I shall see you soon.